Sup? We got bad news to report. I don't know why I'm smiling. It's not a good time. But Autistic Ray kind of can't really help it sometimes. No, this is actually pretty bad though. So two women in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So specifically, two Minnesota women were harassed by a man, and then they were pretty much beat by like a dude and five other dudes. It's actually pretty disturbing if you think about it. Because like I've been calling this shit out for like years to friends and family, and they were telling me, oh, this shit ain't happening, because they're not hearing about it. It's not going on in the world. But 75 million Americans voted for Trump. Now, they claim it was because of the economy, that under Joe Biden it was bad. But in a previous video, I had mentioned that the economy under Joe Biden was great. Unemployment was 4%. Trump's first term was 10% unemployment. So that should tell you immediately, was there an existing economy under Biden, or was there an existing economy under Trump? I'm not no mathematician. I can't tell you how many Americans makes 10% unemployment or 4%, but in comparison to Trump at 10 and Biden at 4, I think that is a no-brainer. So when people mention things like the economy was bad, that's just people who were too lazy and unwilling to work more than 40 hours a week. I don't think that we should be forced to work 40 hours a week. I think we should all personally be able to afford a living wage, working a minimum of 20 to 32 hours a week, and the economy should be booming at that point. But we live in corporate America that says you gotta work 60 hours a week to make living wage. Regardless, a lot of that is redundant. Here's the drip of the matter. I've been calling this shit out forever, and I feel so vindicative when we have articles like the one we're about to explore, but I don't want this behavior to be more prevalent. Unfortunately, with Trump being our president in 2025, this is just going to happen more often than not. And it should not be normalized, because we all know, Trump embodies bigotry, racism, xenophobia, transphobia, intersex phobia, misogyny, like adults having illegal relations with unwanted children that want nothing to do with these people. And it's absolutely disgusting. And you can say that I don't represent any of that, which is a lie, because you do. Because if that wasn't the case, you wouldn't have voted for Trump, since he embodies and represents all of those negative characteristics that we should not be shoving into the lives of fellow Americans, especially those like myself who did not vote for Trump. I don't represent anything to do with that negativity, and I don't represent anything to do with being a convicted felon. And he's a convicted felon on 34 counts. Bro, how much denial do you need to drink on that Kool-Aid, bro? It's insane. Anyway, let's hop into the article. I'm sure a lot of y'all have already heard about this. If not, I understand. I'm pretty sure a lot of my viewers are kind of done with Twitter and Reddit these days. Y'all are going over to Blue Sky and probably only using good Reddit like forums. If you need support, at the end of this video, I'll show you some of the Reddit threads I use, because I generally don't find toxicity there, and if there is, it's quickly deleted. Keep in mind, this is where I found this. All right, so I found this on Reddit, and they linked it directly towards LGBTQ Nation. I'm not familiar with this publication, but if it's anything to go on with this title, two trans women beaten in train station while bystanders cheer, by John Russell, with the caption of "No one came to help them." One person said about how people cheered while the women were attacked. This is the America that 75 million people have voted. Keep in mind, this is Tuesday the 19th. I was sleeping, going to work, going to do DoorDash, and then sleeping like 4 hours a day because that's all that I can do, because I have to work for 20 of those hours just to make ends meet every week. Today, though, I did not DoorDash because I wanted to put priority on sleeping more than 4 hours of sleep and covering this, which, currently it is Wednesday the 20th at 17:21. So as soon as I got off work at 10, got home at, 10:30, I was passed out. I was exhausted. So LGBTQ plus advocates say bystanders cheered as 2 transgender women were viciously attacked in Minneapolis earlier this month. It says earlier in this month, so did this not happen on the 19th? Or did it happen here we go, November 10th. In a statement, police told The Independent that the 2 women confronted in a group of people were making derogatory remarks about them at a downtown Minneapolis light rail station on November 10th, leading to a physical altercation. Amber Mum, one of the organizers of a rally in support of the victims at the station on Sunday, told the outlet that she's spoken to the women identified only as Dahlia and Jess. They told her that they were leaving the station when a man yelled anti-trans slurs at them. According to Mum, when Jess asked the man to stop, he sucker punched her after Dahlia hit the man with her cane. 4 or 5 other men began beating the pair. Both women were reportedly knocked unconscious, with Dahlia sustaining a broken nose and Jess left with multiple contusions to her ribs. No one came to help them. In fact, they said people were cheering the attackers on while they were getting beaten. Mum told CBS News it was a very traumatic event, and they are both still dealing with physical consequences of that acutely, but the community is kind of what's keeping them grounded right now, Mum told The Independent. Minneapolis police station told CBS News that they were investigating the incident, but had made no arrest as of Sunday night. No fucking arrest as of Sunday night. So these 5 men are not charged with jack shit right now. Again, I am not no mathematician, but the fact that you hurting people and actively causing them harm, you are causing them harm financially and physically and mentally, well, I guess technically mental trauma / harm. And these people are probably going to be out of work for a while, so they're not going to be able to pay rent. They're going to have to go to the hospital, so they're going to have to pay the hospital, especially if they don't have insurance, which many Americans still don't have insurance. Trans people specifically, even if they have insurance, they're highly discriminated in the healthcare system that we have currently, because a lot of doctors pathologize transgender individuals. Even I, as an intersex person, am not, I'm not known to discrimination in the healthcare system, especially since I transitioned from female to male, back to female, to non-binary to female, and again non-binary to female. I don't know where I'm at in my life right now, but currently I'm feeling less non-binary and more like female these days. But even then, I took testosterone as a minor, and you can see how that had turned out with my mental health in my older gaming videos. And now you can see I'm a lot more happier since I'm not taking testosterone anymore, and I'm on estrogen therapy, and things are going good in my life. I have a girlfriend. I have a meaningful job that I fucking hate, but, I do it because it pays the bills and it keeps me afloat, and I hate being homeless, quite frankly. Minus the fact that I can only get 4 hours of sleep a day. It sucks. And potentially I'm going to have to work 2 more hours somewhere else and, get only 2 hours of sleep a day, because that is the economy that we are going into in 2025. Anyway, back to the post. They need to step up because this keeps happening and it's ridiculous and unacceptable at this point, Mum said to the police response. According to CBS, Dahlia and Jess moved to Minnesota from Iowa because of the state's trans refuge laws introduced by State Representative Lee Fink. Minnesota's first out trans legislator and passed in March 2023. The law prevents out-of-state laws from interfering with people seeking gender-affirming care in Minnesota. At Sunday's rally, Fink said she expects to see even more trans people moving to the state following the re-election of former President Donald Trump, whose campaign spent millions on anti-trans ads in battleground states during the final months of the campaign. People are so emboldened now. There's so much false data, so many false narratives about trans people. Mom told The Independent, adding that at Sunday's rally, bystanders repeated false claims about gender-affirming surgeries being performed on 10-year-olds. I do want to interject that there are no gender-affirming care surgeries done on 10-year-olds. In fact, only youngest age that we have is specific to Jazz Jennings that we are aware of. You know, she actually got vaginoplasty before 18, and even then that's pushing it. You know, you have to understand she was in transition since she was literally like 4, 5, 6 years old, and she's lived quite a long time to explore her identity, be comfortable with what she was, and, you know, starting college and not wanting to be out as a trans person in her dating life. I mean, that made sense for her to get that surgery, which may have been at 16, but I'm pretty sure was done around 17 or 18 years old. Aside from, you know, very notable people, the only other surgery that I'm aware of that is done on minors is mastectomies, which are done on transgender men and only at the age of like 16 or 17. That's as young as we have research on. And it makes sense to do that type of surgery because A, it's not life-altering. B, it can be done later on with breast augmentation surgery. Or C, you know, just detransitioning, taking hormones will actually increase more breast growth. So it's a completely reversible surgery in some regards, depending on when you started female puberty, which is usually between 9 and 12 years old, whereas male puberty is usually around like 12 to 15. Again, I didn't have a male natal puberty, and in fact, that was started when I was 17. That's when I started taking testosterone. And I stopped taking testosterone sometime between like 20 and 21. No, it's kind of weird actually. But the fact that people are denying mastectomies towards transgender men or trans males in this case, or I just prefer to call them men, at 16, you know, breast growth had already been settled in. Yes, there's going to be 2 more years of breast growth development before they reach the full maturity size, you know, unless they become pregnant, then that's an all different story. But the fact that 16 is the medical consenting age does not mean that they are too young to make that decision, because 16-year-olds should, in fact, have access to medical care even if their parents say no, because, you know, for instance, you know, if a 16-year-old wants to get vaccinated for something and their parents like, no, it's against my religious right, that minor who is of the medical consenting age to say, you know, my parents said, no, I can't get this vaccine, so I guess I'm going to die of COVID. No, you're going to be allowed to, and you're going to get that COVID vaccine like that because you are 16. You are at the medical consenting age required to make an informed decision based on research and knowledge given to you from your medical provider and from what you've learned from social media or from the news. Yeah, you can make that decision. There are a lot of other surgeries I agree with that should be held at the age of 18 or older. But the people who say that you can't transition until the age of 26 or ever in life, like those people should not have any legal say on your life, because at the age of 18, you can make those decisions yourself. One speaker at the rally told CBS News that Trump's re-election is fueling fear in the trans community. People are talking to me about erasing their social media presence, going back in the closet, they said. But Mom urged people to stay in the fight. The community here is beautiful. We're building a movement. We're going to get through this, and we're going to be stronger for it. And Minneapolis is going to be such a beautiful place for trans people to live, she said. At the same time, Mom noted that trans people in the city are preparing for possible uptick in anti-trans violence by enrolling in self-defense classes and looking into getting a handgun and permits. This is very important. Self-defense classes and getting a handgun permit. Now, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I have mentioned this multiple times. I was raised in a military and engineering background in my family. So my grandpa is the one who raised me. He was a World War II veteran in the 101st Airborne. He went in Airborne because he was told he could make more money. That was the reason why he did that. But that gave him more set of combat skills that normal infantrymen would not get. He was also in the Korean War. You know, that one over in Vietnam and Southeast Asia. That one we don't like to talk about because that one was bullshit. But he did that. He raised me. My dad my dad went into the army. I don't know anything about his experience there. But my uncle was a federal agent. So I've had 3 male, strong, dominant people in my life to teach me self-defense and to show me how to use a rifle, I guess an assault rifle, and a sidearm, which we just kind of call a firearm now because apparently, it's when you're threatened, you can run around with a handgun versus assault rifle. And Milo's pissed. Milo, bro, what do you want? Regardless, personally, I don't believe anyone should be holding a handgun anywhere in life, but the fact that we have to do that and hold knives, and apparently I need to feed Milo, so I'm gonna pause this recording and probably do that real quick. And we're back, and quite frankly, I find that very disturbing that is the future that we have to go into. As a Green Party member, I hold the freedom of speech to the highest regard, aside from, the Second Amendment. I'm not really in favor of controlling firearms, but to some extent, there are some firearms that I do believe that we should be in control of to some extent. But that is neither here nor there. What I will say is that the fact that everyone has to now carry a gun on them wherever they go, no matter what the occasion is or the event that's going on, is a telling sign that we are not going into a safe America in 2025. And I find that extremely disturbing. People are about to get a lot more hostile and emboldened in their transphobia, she told The Independent. So what do we do to protect ourselves when we're out? And that is where it's left. Left with a question, and there's not even a forum to discuss this. There are a few comments on Reddit. Old school Reddit. I can't get new school Reddit to work on my computer anymore. But if we can look at the comment section below, I'll show you some comments that I thought were very telling. So this one right here, beating up a woman for entertainment. So proud to be an American. Not. This one right here, yep, this has been my life since 2016. I've had to beat up 2 people to stay alive so far. To stay alive. That should not be normalized. What the actual fuck? What's wrong with those people? I cannot comprehend the level of lack of empathy. What the fuck is wrong with them? This makes me so sad. These women deserve so much better. They do deserve much better, but apparently that is not the future we are going to be living in. This is horrifying. Please, women, especially for those in marginalized groups, do what you can to get any self-defense weapons you need. Research carrying laws in your country if you can afford it, and try to take self-defense classes. If you still feel unsafe, use the buddy system when out at night. It's such a shame to have that type of people to take every precaution possible just to feel safe. Even then, that doesn't prevent attacks. I really thought we were moving somewhere good, but since the election has passed, I feel that, because in a perfect world, we wouldn't have to use a buddy system. But in all ideal situations, you can't really use a buddy system. Like, I can't take my girlfriend to work. My girlfriend can't take me to work when she gets there in the morning when I'm about to finish my day 5 hours after by the time she gets in. And that scares me. This is definitely making me double down in my feminist and LGBTQI activism. I will not step down. Neither will I. And I guess the last two sections. Can confirm from that experience that bystanders will do nothing when visibly trans people are assaulted, and good time to brush up on bystander training. I'm gonna add this to the comment section below, or the description. Y'all can take a look at it. I'm not gonna take a look at it right now. I just want to read the comment. Clearly, this is the worst case where some of the bystanders were encouraging it, but it's also the power of mobs. One ally can help change the entire mood and help allies speak up. Saying nothing is being complicit. We need to be strong and stand up for each other. That does not mean you have to directly intervene. Like the link I posted suggests, you can also distract or redirect, at the very least, documented. And that is time up for this video. And that is going to be it for this video. Very long video, not what I was expecting. And now I get the pleasure of editing it, uploading it for y'all to view on YouTube. And if you need any safe spaces to vent your frustration on Reddit or anything in life, the LGBTQ plus Reddit, perfect for that. Autism in Women is also great for that. They are accepting of cisgender women, transgender women, non-binary femmes, you name it, just not men. Unless they have a partner who identifies as a woman, then sometimes you'll find posts like that. It's a great place for autistic people. Both trans gamers and lesbian gamers are a great place to find queer, trans feminine, cis feminine, like people to interact with, play games with. Never had any problems there. If I find any more Reddits that I'm interested in and I find that they're great, I'll show you. One on the offcut is gardening on Reddit. Like, I've never had any intersex phobia there. I've never experienced any transphobia there. You know, these are just people trying to help other gardeners increase their interest in gardening. As you know, if you see my vlogging channel, Ray is a Sigma Alpha gardener who had been growing bok choy in wintertime in an apartment complex. Very proud of that bok choy, which, you know, eventually led up to me, like, well, we know where that went to on Christmas Day 2021, and I'm glad I'm still here. I'm glad you all are still here. I'm glad that we are still here together, and we are going to continue fighting and surviving. Peace. Holy cheese grater, yo. I finally got me a tripod. No more awkward angles. It was within budget, and apparently I could afford it this month. $10, yo, minus tax.